Early voting starting today for the June 28th primary, believe it or not, but you could head to the polls at your county building and vote. And there's a lot of action across the different ballots. Of course, it's a party primary, so you have to either pick a Democrat or a Republican ballot. You can't pick a ballot and then think you're going to vote for who's running the Democratic nomination for Secretary of State, for instance, which is pretty contentious and a bunch of choices there, and then go and hop over and grab the Republican gubernatorial race, which you've got a pretty heated race over there. But there's a lot of choices, and I think it's going to be important for everybody to see their sample ballot and understand who's on it, because it's not just what's going on at the State House. It's also what's going to happen in the U.S. Congress. You've got primaries for Republicans and Democrats all up and down the state for U.S. Congress, just in the House, all right? For instance, the Mary Miller and Rodney Davis primary. But you've got up in the Chicago suburbs, Mary Newman and Sean Casten for a House seat up there in a Democrat primary. But for the Republican Senate nomination to go and take on Democratic U.S. Senator Tammy Duckworth, there are several candidates. And I'm looking at the Illinois State Board of Elections website here, and you've got names like Kathy Sylvie, Anthony Williams, you've got Jimmy Tillman, other names include Bobby Pitton, and also Casey Klepbeck and Peggy Hubbard. So those are just some of the names of the Republicans that are on the Republican ballot for U.S. Senate. But my next guest is another one of those names, and he joins us now. He is Matt Dubiel, and he is a former radio guy. So I guess he understands how this all works. And as far as being a radio guy, Matt, thanks for taking time with us this morning. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, Greg. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Yeah. So for people who aren't familiar with you, let's get the elevator pitch here. Who is Matt Dubiel?
Well, I'm the guy who's sick of paying for everything. Like a lot of the people in the middle class here that are, working every day, paying at the pump and fighting with their school boards or fighting with their employers, fighting for their privacy, getting frustrated with the fentanyl border crisis. I'm a dad, Greg. I got 4 kids from 20 years old down to 10 years old. I moved to Naperville, Illinois for lower taxes and better schools, and we're getting neither. And I've been fighting for my kids. It all started, Greg, when I sued Governor Pritzker. We hired this guy named Tom DeVore. You might have heard of him. And we sued Governor Pritzker for my kids' rights to be mask-free in school after we went through the gambit of medical exemptions and religious exemptions, and none of it worked. And we had to sue our own governor for our own freedom. And I thought, what is going on in this state? What is going on in this country where the people are not in charge? And I got motivated to get involved and be an option that's non-establishment, non-professional politician, a regular guy running for office to represent we the people, which is what we the people need, I think.
So what do you think are going to be the major issues if you were to advance out of the primary to take on Tammy Duckworth, who is not being challenged right now in a primary? What do you think is going to be the main topics that you're going to go up against Senator Duckworth with?
Well, if we don't get Matt Dubiel in as the victorious one here in this primary for U.S. Senate, and you mentioned early voting is today, and I believe voting should be a day. Election day should be an actual day. It should be a paper ballot, and you should have to show an ID to vote. But people are starting to vote today, and early voting is going to continue on for a whole period of weeks, and we're going to have some challenges here. And the Democratic Party, Tammy Duckworth, Dick Durbin, if you watch their Twitter feeds and you read what they're putting out in their press releases, they're going to focus on woke policies like sending, $40 billion to Ukraine, wasting our money on gender studies, and not repairing our border. And if we allow them to control the conversation, that's the kind of garbage we're going to be talking about in the fall. If Matt Dubiel is the nominee for United States Senate, we're going to be talking about our border. We're going to be talking about the fentanyl pandemic that's coming through our border, sex trafficking at the border, our economy. And we're going to be talking about our freedoms and restoring them so that we in America can get back to what we do, which is make stuff and lead the world in freedom and sovereignty, which hasn't been happening for far too long now.
Let's go through a couple of issues here. Of course, the U.S. Senate deals with a whole host of things, but kind of rapid fire here, if you could. Foreign policy. What's going on in Russia, and what's your take, and how would you approach that as a U.S. Senator?
Greg, that's the number one question they asked us candidates when we did this Chicago Tribune questionnaire for all the candidates. They focused on Ukraine and Russia, and what I've experienced is it's not what most Americans are really as concerned about as the economy and the erosion of our freedoms and this trial run of communism that we're getting. So obviously foreign policy is an issue, but it would start with we got to stop sending money overseas while our roads are like the surface of the moon. We got to stop sending $40 billion to Ukraine when we just sent them another 12 before that and 10 before that. We're all losing track. And our Congress is printing and spending money, and then they're coming back, and the news media, which has turned on we the people, and the rest of the world are saying that it's Putin's fault that our economy has runaway inflation. Well, Putin didn't do this. Putin didn't shut down the government. The people that shut down the government are our own government, our own governor, Pritzker, our Chicago Mayor Lightfoot, and other mayors like her, and the people with weak, feckless leadership that have abandoned we the people. Matt Dubiel is going to get in there and say, you know what, enough of this stuff. I'm not going to vote for bills that I don't read. I'm not going to send $40 billion or any $1 billion overseas anymore. We got to get back to America first. And America first is what's going to make America strong again.
7:18 now, just a few more moments with Matt Dubiel on Springfield's Morning News, 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. I'm Greg Bishop. A few other just quick issues, if you could, Matt, just to make sure that voters know where you stand on these things. The Second Amendment.
I am a big fan. It's, obviously we live in Illinois. I have to carry 2 cards in order to carry legally. You got to have your FOID and your concealed carry. I just got off the phone with the NRA yesterday because I stand by pretty much leave the 2A alone. Even these ghost gun bills and laws that are coming through, I think are they're all ways to control our freedom, which is protected in the Constitution, and 2A is the one that protects the rest. So I'm strong 2A.
We're actually going to be talking about that bill the governor signed in the next segment, so stay tuned for that. But abortion, obviously, that's a major issue here as well.
Greg, we shut down the state. Well, we didn't. You and I didn't. But the leaders, they call themselves leaders, shut down the state of Illinois to, quote unquote, keep us safe. And every year that we were shut down, every year in Illinois, 45,000 abortions occur. 45,000 every single year. They asked me about gun control, and they said, oh, Matt, there's 45,000 gun injuries every year across the nation. There's 45,000 abortions in Illinois. It's a business. It's wrong. I will not fund abortion. I will not fund Planned Parenthood. And, it's going to be a tough thing to do because I heard an attack ad on your station against Mary Miller. And when you make some of those tough decisions, some people are going to come after you. But the good news is I'm going to stand strong. I'm going to stand up for we the people. I'm going to stand up for the unborn. And I'm running for 1 term, and that's it. So they can attack me all they want. But it's time for me to get Duckworth out. You get Matt Dubiel in, we get Duckworth out. And then we come after Dick Durbin, and we get him out in 4 years because people in Illinois will say, we can do it. This isn't a blue state. We're not flyover country. We can get it done. Matt Dubiel's the real deal. And now let's go after Dick Durbin.
Finally here, and I imagine we'll probably connect again in the future, and I've reached out to all the other candidates that are on the Republican ballot. I've got a connection from one other. I'm going to continue to try to get other voices that are on the Republican ballot for U.S. Senate, so we'll definitely bring that to these airwaves. But finally here, the filibuster. Is that something that needs to go away, or do you support having that 60-vote threshold?
I think that we need to leave it alone. We have this thing where we try to fix things that aren't broken in order to break other things in the United States of America. And we have so many things going on. We need our Congress and our Senate to focus on reading the bills before they sign the bills, which they're not doing. We need them to focus on showing up. Tammy Duckworth doesn't show up to vote a lot in the Senate, and Dick Durbin, when they do show up, her and Dick vote lockstep. So Dick and Duck have to go. And if you want that to happen in Illinois, early voting starts today. Matt Dubiel is the America First choice in Illinois to replace Tammy Duckworth. Matt Dubiel is the guy that can beat Tammy Duckworth. And that's what we need to focus on to make that happen in Illinois so we can get this red train rolling. There's not going to be a red wave if we don't have somebody that the people get excited about, and I'm the guy that won't let you down. The real deal, Matt Dubiel.
And Matt, where can people find more information about you?
Dubiel4Senate.com, Dubiel for Senate.com. And I will also do you one better, Greg. I'm going to give out my cell phone number. You can text me directly, 312-847-1987. Anybody can text me across the state, 312-847-1987. Issues, questions, comments, concerns, 312-847-1987.
That's a brave person right there, being able to share their cell phone on the airwaves. Greatly appreciate you taking the time, Matt, and I imagine we'll talk again soon. We'll talk about other issues. So I appreciate you taking the time with us this morning.
Thanks for doing this, Greg. I appreciate it. You got a great show. Keep it up.
It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News